Now, Eve Irvine is here with today's Media Watch. It's good to see you, Eve. Let's start by talking about the elections in Tunisia, because there's been a whole barrage of reaction to that online. What have you got for us?
Absolutely, indeed. Well, let's start perhaps with Le Temps, that national Tunisian daily, and its front page is still headlining there online with "Don't miss this historic moment." It shows both of the candidates there. We have, well, now the new president-elect on the left, Beji Caid Essebsi, and on the right you have the now outgoing president, Monsef Marzouki. Both of them, the paper says, they chose these photos of both of them holding kids to show a symbol of the innocence of the country now, where it's getting democratically, and this new beginning, if you like. It's the first time since 1956, when Tunisia got its independence from France, that people have been able to go to the polls. And this paper and a lot of the Tunisian media say that that's what's important. The fact that they're getting to choose despite the winner, that was what it was important for them. And that's been coming up a good bit. You can see there on the Twitter sphere as well, that simple word, "so proud." That's an economist in Tunisia saying, really, you know, showing the results, 44% against 55%, and comparing that with the results of the latest elections in the US and France, basically saying we're there, we're on the same page, none of this 99% support like you might see in some of the dictatorships.
Okay, I want to move on to your next story, Eve. It feeds into what we were just talking about, the fear about terrorism here in Europe. A German reporter is the first Western journalist who has travelled to, reported on, and come safely back from territory currently being held by the Islamic State group. I mean, we've seen the horrible, brutal things that have happened to journalists and aid workers, indeed, who have come into contact with these people. He's managed to come back safely, and I imagine he's got quite a story to tell.
Indeed, and in fact, he travelled with his son. His name is Jürgen Todenhofer. He's 74 years of age. Now, he has a long history of experience working with these kind of groups. He wrote about them back in 2007 when they were called the Islamic State in Iraq. He basically is now starting, he just came back out this weekend after 10 days with them, starting to publish his articles. You can see it there on the TZ. That's a local paper in Munich, where he's from. His 10 days, and he gives us insights that we perhaps haven't got elsewhere, little nuggets like the fact that they are building a school. He talks about this incredible energy and motivation of its fighters, something he said he's never seen in another war zone. However, he also gives then his fear that this is the biggest thing we've seen in maybe 100 years, maybe more, in the Middle East, that these fighters are really determined to spread their Islamic State even further and try and take over. However, his article has already been picked up on in lots of other papers. They're the International, the Independent in the UK, for example, and they're all picking up on those nuggets he gives us, saying who they are, talking about their power, their influence, that life is more or less normal in Mosul at the minute. But already, and these articles were just published this Monday morning, there's analysts who are questioning, what are we really getting from
Right,
this?
I mean, has he basically done them a favour by bringing back this quite positive propaganda on their behalf?
Definitely, according to one professor of a university here in France, Jean-Pierre Felou. He's written a long article there in Rue 89, the French paper. He says the title is "A German Journalist with the Islamic State Group, a Useful Idiot and Propaganda for the Jihadist Group." It basically said that all we're getting, it's nothing more. He said there's an awful fear of how well the Islamic State Group is using the media. He was embedded, to his own admission. His phones were taken off him. He was completely cut off from anything else. He bedded down with them. So basically what a lot of this university professor and other people are saying is, we're being used. This is literally giving them an early Christmas present.
And it raises interesting questions, because a lot of people proven to have gone and been with this group are being arrested just literally for going to the fight. So it's interesting how that will work as well.
And this German journalist has been very outspoken against the American invasion in Iraq and all of this in the past, so perhaps that gave him a bit of a door.
Okay, Eve, thanks very much indeed. Eve Irvine there with Media Watch.